everyone, hope you are well. Today we aren't heading out on an adventure because time didn't allow, but we're still out at a nice place and I've decided to share some of my knowledge on the 90 series LandCruiser Prado and help anyone out there who is in the market for this specific model of Land Cruisers. I've owned this car for nearly 5 years now. I've driven it off-road, in the city, in the motorway, so I am pretty knowledgeable when it comes to the common issues these cars have. So what I'm going to do is walk around the car and point out the key areas you should look out for when heading out and buying a 90 series LandCruiser Prado. Stay tuned. So all the specific areas I am going to talk about will be timestamped in the description down below. So if you want to skip to any specific part of the video, go ahead and do it. I am going to start with the lower ball joints, which is the most common issue on these trucks. I'm pretty sure that if you've done any kind of research on the 90 series LandCruiser Prado, you will be aware that when the lower ball joints fail, the whole front wheel will just fall off. Now this sounds a bit scary, but it is pretty hard to have happen because you really have to neglect the car. I know some people with the same truck, a 90 series LandCruiser Prado, who have more than 300,000 kilometers on the clock with the original ball joints, and they have zero play and they never had a single issue. On my truck, I've changed them 3 times because I take it off-road regularly, so they were faster than usual, and they are pretty cheap. They are 80 euros per side, so it's not that bad. It's better to pay 80 euros rather than have a whole wheel fall off. So when you keep up with the maintenance, you won't have an issue with the lower ball joints. But when out buying such a car, check them just to be aware if you need to change them after you purchase the car or not. Checking the lower ball joints for play isn't that hard. I will include a video in the description down below because there are plenty of them out there. So yeah, that's all for the lower ball joints. Let's move on. Moving on to the engine bay, there are 2 things you will want to look out for. 1 is the starter and 2 is cracked heads. The starters are known to fail at about 20 years old. My truck is 22 and I've changed my starter 5 months ago. The only way to crack a head on one of these engines is to overheat it. So check the one you are looking out on buying has a good radiator and take it to a mechanic to have a quick look at whether the head is cracked or not. Otherwise, these are very good engines, they pull strong and they are pretty damn reliable if you look after them. I have a friend of mine with 550,000 kilometers on the clock and the engine has never been opened. One more thing you will want to have a look at is suspension bushes. It's not a common issue with these, but because it is a heavy car, it tends to go through them a bit more often than, let's say, a solid axle truck would. The most common ones to fail on these, from my experience, are the sway bar bushings. Also keep in mind that because this is an independent front suspension vehicle, it is difficult to lift it more than 2 inches and put tires larger than 33 inches under it. So if your plans are a 35-inch vehicle with 4 inches of lift, you will be better off with something like an 80 series or a Patrol or anything with solid axles. The interior of these cars is very durable, but the only issue is loose dashboards. Mine is pretty tight still, but I've seen some of these where on dirt roads you can actually see the dashboard moving up and down. There is a fix for that. You have to take some stuff apart and screw some bolts through the dashboard and into the pillar, which will fix the problem, but it is a bit of a fuss to do. Other than that, my car has 132,000 miles on the clock, and as you can see, the interior looks pretty good for its age. So you can expect this to last for much longer. The last thing I want to talk about is the rear door rattle. This is the case with pretty much all Toyota vehicles with this style of rear doors. This little hitch right here tends to wear out and the door won't stay firmly in place, and because of that it will squeak. It's not too big of a deal. You can just change the lock and the problem is solved. Some other things that do not involve common issues are bent side steps like mine and bashed up skid plates, which are both a sign of off-road use. Now, this is not the end of the world. If the car was maintained, chances are it is totally okay to buy. But if it was used off-road and never maintained, that's a bad thing, because it will most probably be destroyed. Check that low range engages and disengages, and if the specific Prado you are looking at has a rear diff locker, check if that engages and disengages too. As soon as you turn the switch, the light will flash, and when the locks engage, the light will stay on, so keep that in mind. These are the most common issues with 90 series LandCruiser Prados. The two worst ones, which are the ball joints and the cracked heads, can both be avoided with general maintenance, checking for play on the ball joints and checking that your radiator actually has fluid in it will pretty much keep you safe from having any of these issues. As far as my ownership goes, the things I needed to change on this car were bushes. As soon as I bought the car, the bushes were already 18 years old. So I changed all of them, stabilizer links and the starter. I also changed the clutch, but that's a general wear item that every single car needs changing. The same is true with the bushes and the stabilizer links, but as I said, because it is a heavy car, it tends to go through them a bit more often than other cars. I hope you have enjoyed this video and have found it helpful. Please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.